Hello and welcome to this week's episodes of The Calling. Follow your spirit all the way in. I'm your host, Homaya. Join me in this journey of self-awareness, soul frequencies, and spiritual revelations. Let's fly. Hey beauties! Last episode, we looked at questions in general as a way to transcend a limitation and to create portals that support us to bring light to life, light on earth. And I'd love us to go through another question, and I'm going to share that with you through a story, because this is the way that this question was revealed to me for the first time. And since then I've used it, and I'm still using it again and again when I'm arriving to a place where I can perceive myself as limited. And it is a beautiful way to bridge, as I said, spirit and matter. It's a beautiful way to create a channel inside of your system and to support the physical body, emotional body, mental body to align with the spiritual body. So that is so powerful and so beautiful. And there's a wave for you to pass and to really feel that you're owning the light that is passing through you. So, an intimate story. My man was born in a religious family, and they practice their religious very strongly. They have a lot of ways of being, we can say, and approach towards life and how life can be and how life should be. What do you do? How do you do things? And this practice is beautiful. However, it was not my practice. My devotion to God and my perception of divinity awakened within me didn't come with a set of rules of what to do or not to do, rather an internal perception, and my horizon towards what is possible for me and for everyone in life is therefore more free, we can say, but also part of my own journey and inquiry through trial and errors. The first day that I arrived to their home, to their house, a situation was created. Whether it was intentionally or unintentionally, we cannot know, although my senses and my intuition is saying that it was intentionally. I was left with his mother in the kitchen, maybe 10 or 15 minutes after we arrived to their home. No one else was around. Somehow his father took him, and there were no brothers and sisters around. There's no one around. And here I'm sitting with a stranger, a religious woman, in her kitchen, in her house, with my wild hair and wild attitude to life, jungle frequencies devoted to God and following no preconceived ideas about how we do it. And it took her 1 or 2 minutes to approach me directly and ask me questions that at that age, with all the freedom that I was embodying, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, felt a little bit uncomfortable. The fact that you're practicing freedom doesn't mean that you're really available for everything, right? So she frankly directly ask me if I want to get married and if I want to have children. Really? This is the question that I don't even ask myself. I don't ask those questions. I don't ask this question. Am I supposed to deliver an answer? My entire body felt uncomfortable, agitated. I really didn't want to be in that kitchen. I didn't want to be in this conversation. I didn't want to be with her. It felt uncomfortable. I felt trapped. It felt unfair. And I was so near to hating her. Really, I was like, ah. No, not this question. I'm just starting to date this guy. It is intimate. I don't dare to ask myself those questions. I'm not going to ask him those questions. What am I going to face now? How am I going to answer her? So I took a deep breath and I shared from my heart my honest truth. I shared what I thought, what I felt, the way I see it, the way I see myself currently in this kitchen with her answering this question. I just honestly shared everything. That was my way. That was not necessarily the answer she wanted. It was probably not a question from her side. And it could be that I failed the test. And of course, that influenced everything that happened at that afternoon with this family in this house. Although I opened my heart and spoke and expressed what I feel, the energy didn't shift. The atmosphere stayed the same. There was, as I am supposed to be the one who's coming and saying to her, I want to get married and I want to have children, and this is what I'm doing with your man, with your boy, excuse me, with my man and your boy. And then we left and we said goodbye at the door. And I looked at her and I felt super uncomfortable. I didn't know even how to say goodbye, what is appropriate, to shake the hand, to give her a hug, to give her a kiss on the cheek. Like, I really felt uncomfortable. I don't recall even what I've done. We entered the car and we started driving to probably his house. And gradually I relaxed and I could connect to myself more. And I remember looking at the window and feeling all of those feelings. And then I said to myself, that wouldn't work like that. You're not building a beautiful future like that. You're not building a beautiful relationship, not with this man and not with his family. Sitting in the car, frustrated, feeling that you were trapped in an uncomfortable situation. You're going nowhere like that. Or other ways to say, you're going to the place that you don't want to go. So with the next breath, I said to myself, who do you perceive yourself to be? Who do you perceive yourself to be? I didn't ask, who am I? I didn't ask, what am I doing? I asked, who do I perceive myself to be? Who do I perceive myself to be? That was the question. And that question created such a beautiful and powerful bridge between the infinite presence that I feel inside of me, the specific identity that I hold and what I'm dedicating my life to. Who am I perceiving myself? Not only as an extension of the divine and as God's presence and all of those, now I'm saying in a little bit of ironic tone, although those are really high, truthful frequencies, but I didn't go there. And I also didn't go to a very limited identification as a human that I am, that could easily take me to frustration. And I said to myself, at that time, this is how I perceived myself to be. I said to myself, I perceive myself as a healer, as a master healer. I was just a healer at that time. I perceive myself as a healer. And then I said, if you perceive yourself as a healer, how do you heal here? How do you heal this relationship that you just created with the one who gave birth to the men that you love? How do you bring light and energy to your relationship with her, regardless of her attitude, her approach, her belief system, her fears, her needs for trust and security, regardless of anything about her, about him, about yourself? How do you bring light? How do you bring love? How do you bring truth? How do you bring beauty? Because if you perceive yourself to be a good healer, then sometimes it will work with your clients. Sometimes it will work with people who are already convinced. Sometimes it will work with the people who will pay to be in your presence and for you to give light and support to them. And sometimes it wouldn't work with them. It will need to work with those who do not believe you, those who do not trust you, those who have a different opinion and a different attitude. You can wait for life to initiate you to a greater and a greater presence of who you are and what you are. And you can take those initiations yourself and lead yourself forward. And at that moment, I took a decision that I'm expanding. And I didn't say to myself, oh, I'm going to be a healer, and therefore I am the one who knows, and I am the one who will decide how to treat that and how to heal her because she is with a problem. No, I didn't say anything like that. I said to myself, my job now is to bring light, energy, vitality, truth, love into this relationship, regardless of the circumstances. This is my job, and this is what I'm going to do, and this is how I'm going to become even a greater healer and a greater lover and partner to the one that I chose. And please breathe. And since then, many times, when I'm arriving to an edge, when I'm arriving to a place where I don't see how I can move, where I'm facing people who doubt me, where I don't feel comfortable because people didn't like my post, where I don't feel that my offer are not sold in the way that I want to sell them, that there's not enough people coming into my spaces, where a certain relationship is triggering me, where I feel that I am not having or receiving or experiencing everything that I would like to, then I go back and ask myself this precious question: Homaya, who do you perceive yourself to be? And as that person, as that light activator, how are you going to lead this current situation without making no one wrong? Not yourself and not others. And please breathe. Take a deep breath. So this is a gift I want to give you. I want you to ask this question from time to time. And I want you to feel what comes. I don't want you to have an elaborated mental answer that will feed your spiritual ego or your little ego or your big ego. It wouldn't serve you. It wouldn't support you. It wouldn't lead you. It wouldn't open your horizon. It wouldn't bring more forces in. I want you to ask this question so you can transmute a certain limitation that you have inside of you into greater presence. I want you to ask this question in a way that will almost, I would say, oblige you, push you, inspire you, activate you to bring more of your light. I want you to ask this question in a way that will open you and will open what is possible inside of you to become greater than what you perceive yourself to be. If you're listening to this podcast, if you're listening to those recordings, then you're on the spiritual path. And most likely you're on the spiritual path as a light activator in whatever stages you are. Because there's no one on the spiritual path that doesn't lead. We all here to lead. How much we are aware of that, how much we really move with that is very different. But the fact is that if you are on your spiritual path, if you're answering the calling of your heart, if you're answering the calling of your soul, you're here to lead. And sometimes you will be the one who will initiate you yourself to a greater level of presence. You will be the one who will sum up, sum in forces and lights to lead, to be greater than life, to create the impossible, to create a new reality for yourself and for others. There's so much freedom and so much liberation and so much strength and love. I've shifted the relationship that I had with her the day after. I have embraced her within me in my heart. I was unshakable. I had space for her. I created space for her. I created space for her love as much as she could give, and space for her opinion, and space for her judgment, and I created space for myself in her presence and in my relationship with my men. Let it land. Keep it in your heart, in the pocket in your heart, and use that question to expand. Thank you. Thank you for listening and being part of this great conversation. You will find all the relevant links in the show notes, as well as a link to a meditation for you to feel more connected to your spirit and aligned with your soul contract. Please, if this episode touched you, leave a review, like, and subscribe. Feel comfortable to share it with your friends, family, and colleagues, because everyone has a calling.